Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And since the last time I talked about a Popeye film, I did sleep, did a bit of rest, so I'm a little bit more clear-headed, although I'm just as pissed because it's the second of three, not one, not two, but three goddamn Popeye horror films. And yes, he's still over there, but he's taking a vacation from the rest because he can't handle the shit anymore. And if I put him in camera and I talk to him about it, he's gonna blow his fucking brains out of his pipe. I don't blame him. So last time we talked about Popeye the Slayer Man, and these were all three requested by Vonte. Thank you. For anyone that wants to request any other type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour of full playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal, do have a CashApp as well, and links are down below in an info box. I will get to them as soon as I possibly can. And this is Popeye's Revenge. Now I talked about how Popeye the Slayer Man was really bad. What's sad is these next two are even worse. Because as bad as Popeye the Slayer Man is, at least they try to make the bad guy look like Popeye with the makeup and the forearms and saying things like I am what I am, and olive oil is referenced in there. Wimpy, the hamburger guy, there's maybe like an appearance kind of reference of him. Sweet Pea, is in a way is a character in it, is Popeye's daughter. But watch that review if you want to know why I thought it sucked. This one was even cheaper. The acting in Popeye the Slayer Man was bad. I would say this was even worse acting. The guy they got just looks like some guy. They put a little bit of makeup maybe on chin, a little bit of makeup on the forearms, but that's it. And the the backstory, they pretty much combine Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, where there's the parents and the town, I should say, going off and doing their vigilante justice and burning stuff to the ground, but then at the same time the parents, including the mom, are killed, and the character goes to the lake and they come out of the lake kind of like Jason Crystal Lake, the legend, at least part of it, which was Jason drowning in the lake. But okay, the backstory, which they show in this very cheap animation, like hand-drawn animation. I don't even know if I want to say animation, just cheap drawings, really. Barely animation. This guy was born with a deformity on the arms and chin. As a child, he was picked on. A bully pushed too far. He went and choked the bully until the eyes popped out. So the parents decide the best course of action is to throw the kid in the basement. While he's there, someone keeps giving them messages. You find out later who that is. One thing leads to another, and eventually the town and the kids and the parents, they go and they burn the place, vigilante justice. We don't want this kid here. They burn the place down, the parents die. Popeye runs, he's kind of burnt, and he goes to the lake and I guess supposedly dies, and each time fog comes by, Popeye will emerge and kill whoever's around. Thus Popeye's Revenge. So then you cut to these three people. I guess this was made out in the UK or something, because everybody has this really thick British accent. so thick, sometimes I couldn't understand what the fuck they were saying. But also the acting, man, some of the acting in this, I swear, were porn star level. In fact, of the three, two of the ladies, especially one of them, sounded like porn star acting. It really did. They're three vloggers, and their show is called The Haunted Houses of Evil. What a shitty name for a show. If I saw that on YouTube, I'm like, that's what you're calling it? The Haunted Houses of Evil? How about the Territory of Bad Things? What kind of worst title could you have? So they're supposed to be looking around this area and this lake, and of course two of them decide to have sex. Sadly not the two ladies, but... And, people do the dumb things. While those two are having sex, the other girl is like the sound girl and sees someone in the distance. But even though it doesn't go for help, doesn't say, hey, there's someone there, doesn't get the fuck out of Dodge, just doesn't say anything, looks at stuff, looks up, the person's not there. So of course you know what's going to happen. Eventually the person's behind her, she gets killed, and steps on her head. Once again, like Popeye the Slayer Man, it does have practical gore. It does have practical effects. I don't give a shit. This shows that just because you have gore doesn't mean it's a good movie. There are plenty of good movies that have gore. Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. A lot of the Friday the 13th films. Hell, a lot of the Nightmare on Elm Street films. The uncut version of My Bloody Valentine. There's tons of them. You just go watch them. So then Popeye goes and punches a hole through the girl's back, through her stomach. The guy freaks out, runs off. And when Popeye grabs it eventually, he squeezes, and you get the idea that his eyeball pops out. But you don't like see it pop out. You see like Popeye's reaction and stuff. And when this guy kills, he likes to sound like he's having an orgasm. I mean, I guess that's what Popeye sounds like when you have an orgasm. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Sorry. So then you cut to... Again, Popeye the Slayer Man was bad, but it like tried to like, okay, it's a spinach factory, incorporate the Spanish as contaminated spinach, as stupid and goofy as it is. And here it's just like a really bad Friday the 13th wannabe. It takes place in the woods. There's a house by a lake. These 7 teenagers go there. They want to turn into... It's weird, when you look up synopsis, they say they want to turn to a summer camp. But in the movie, they say a haunted attraction. I don't remember them saying a summer camp. So it's weird how a lot, if you look up the info, they say it's summer. Unless maybe I missed that info, that they want to do that too. But what I heard was they want to do it a haunted attraction. Why and what, I don't know. And I can't tell you really anything of these 7 teenagers because they weren't worth a pot to piss in. And even the killer, the whole movie was lazy because this could have been any killer. It could have been any killer. It could have been, take any IP, take any, this, you change 3 things, it could be fucking Bloody Murder, the remake, or it could be any number of that stuff. It really could. And just fucking lazy. Of the 7, you have the lead, and you have the lead guy, lead girl. One of them is a cheater. And it's just kind of them pissing around, showcasing their bad acting and their thick UK accents. You have the guy that warns them, the wannabe Crazy Ralph, which is funny because he warns them he's a fisherman, but yet he still stays there. So I'm warning you, it's dangerous to be here, but I'm still going to be here, and then lo and behold, he dies. It's like Crazy Ralph. I like Friday the 13th Part 2, but it's like, why is Crazy Ralph still around if he keeps warning people about shit? You're doomed, you're all doomed. Then why the fuck are you there? Leave, Crazy Ralph. But, yeah, he gets killed. Some of the death scenes, there's a girl that gets kind of her throat cut when she's in this, like, hot tub, and it just goes on forever, and the blood, and he grabs, like, her tits, because I guess she got, like, a tit job, and I think they explode. I say that because he's, like, grabbing it, and cut to, it looked like chocolate syrup with the way it was lit. It did. It looked like chocolate syrup hit him in the face. And them in the face. Because it was, I thought it was a piss poorly lit scene. And I'm assuming that's what happened. Eventually she dies and drowns in the tub. There's one guy who's more the guy that's high on his own supply, and he has a picture of one of the girls. He's on the docks, jerking the gherkin, and the Popeye hits his dick with an anchor. And then, like, reaches and pulls a piece of spine out that looks so fucking fake and phony, and it looks like a proper fucking play. And then he rips his head off. So, I mean, I'll give you these two films. Like, they have practical gore, and if you want to go in for that, I mean, at this point, that's a dime a dozen slasher films that have gore. But again, you can watch Intruder, which I think is other than, I don't like the very end of the film, but I thought the rest of it was fairly good. Some of the bits in Silent Madness, or even not slasher, Dead Alive, Evil Dead, the original. There's plenty of films you can watch. Willy's Wonderland that I saw, I liked that film. Even, I liked Hard Eyes, that had some gore. I mean, there's plenty of other films you can see that in. The guy who's a cheater, he tries to fight Popeye, but he wimps out pretty quickly. And the guy grabs him and shoves his eye into a wood splinter. Impales him. Makes me wonder why he was so pissed at the guy jerking his gherkin. The fact that enter to the dick and rip his spine, part of his spine out, and rip his head off. I'm like, damn, you were more pissed at this guy than the others. You jealous that he jerks off, you can't? I don't know. I'm trying to think like the other people, how they died. I can't even remember this point. At one point, there's this lady that tries to warn them, and, hey, you shouldn't be here. You find out that's Olive Oil, and I think you find out that she's the sister of Popeye, and she was the one giving the messages back in the day to Popeye. And they become like a murder twins, Wonder Twins, unite. Of course, there's no phone service. Of course, they can't get help. One person gets killed with a lawnmower where he's driving this very slow lawnmower, and of course the girl trips, and she can't just get up and run away. And so, safety measures, of course, they put the thing near, and you see the blood spray. Some of the kids' parents, they arrive, but one of them, as soon as they arrive, they get killed, and the other two find the kids, and Olive Oil just kills both of them like nothing. Or at least stabs the shit out of them. I think Popeye finishes one of them off. Olive oil gets burned, which becomes practical fire stuff, but it starts off as really bad CG fire. And then the end of the film, it's the guy and the girl, and pretty much the guy puts like a chain on Popeye's leg and drags him. The girl is driving the lawnmower and gets onto Popeye. And then they think it's all over and they're walking away. But then it's like the next day, next morning, and Popeye just grabs her, pulls her away, the guy screams, and the movie's over. It's one of those movies, there's a bit of shaky cam. It's one of those movies where it's very cheap. It's one of those movies where the acting is fairly bad. The look of Popeye, anybody, could have been anybody. Other than, the bit of outfit they put it on. They don't do a whole lot with Popeye references. I mean, the backstory is very different. Again, it's like they took pieces of Friday the 13th and pieces of Nightmare on Elm Street with, the vigilante justice and burning and wanting revenge. And, they put it into Blender and had this shit. This looked like even a cheaper budget than Popeye the Slayer Man. The music was forgettable. This one, I mean, there's just not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, you could go over every dumb decision, but let's face it, there's slasher films I liked where the characters make a lot of dumb decisions. But at least, so people just say, well, that's normal for a slasher. Then at least be entertaining in some way. Yes, I do think you can have decent characters and decent acting in a slasher film because I've seen it done multiple upon multiple fucking times. If I go on here and if I type 80 slasher films, and I'm going to do it right now, I could go to this list and say, you know what? I've had issues with Friday the 13th, but the acting is way better in that movie. I like Adrienne Keene, I like Betsy Palmer, the music is great, the look of the film, it looks more polished than this film, there's no stupid shaky cam. So there you go. I don't hate the original Friday the 13th, I liked it, I think it's a bit overrated because I like a lot of the sequels more, but there you go. I'm giving praise to it. Even sequels like Halloween 4, you see how polished that is, and the acting by Donald Pleasance, Ellie Cornell, Danielle Harris, My Bloody Valentine. The acting's not A plus quality, but I don't mind Paul Kilman, I don't mind Neil Affleck, that had the atmosphere, the minds, and the outfit, the killer was really memorable, and Terror Train, I like The Burning. Silent Night, Deadly Night. That's actually a pretty decent dissertation about someone going through trauma and how when unchecked just goes way wrong. And if you can't have good acting, then have fun, goofy B-movie charm acting. Alone in the Dark, I think, is a good film. The Mutilator, that has good kills. The acting is pretty meh. Although I still think they're better than the acting in this. And that one, I think, it's filmed at least a little bit better compared to this. And it has that 80s charm. Has a memorable song. Full break. I don't mind The Mutilator. Silent Madness I like. Some of these I haven't seen. Intruder. Don't Go in the Woods was funny bad. That film is hilarious for the wrong reasons. This, I wouldn't even say it's that. It's stuff you've seen done multiple upon multiple times if you've seen these kind of movies. and it doesn't have any charm to it. It doesn't have any like B movie charm. It's shot like any like typical low budget modern horror movie. Lazy and boring and stupid. When you're even more lazy than Popeye the Slayer Man, that's saying something. And again, if you change three things, this could have been any generic jamoke and not Popeye. And to reiterate my issues, why I get so passionately angry about this stuff, you have three horror Popeye movies. Why couldn't you take the budgets of all three? Granted, they're made from different companies, to be fair. But just the idea, like, just take the budget from all three still and give the world a good, decent Popeye animated film. It pisses me off that this is the only way this character can be showcased in today's age. Being a fan of the cartoon, liking the character, hell, even liking to an extent the Robin Williams film from 1980. It has its flaws, but I like it. This is just lackluster, lazy horseshit. It's a trend that's really annoying, and I hope it stops soon. But it doesn't look like it is because they're made on the cheap, and then whatever streaming service they on, I'm sure they get the numbers because people go, "What the hell is that?" And they either hate watch it, or they watch it out of curiosity, or they watch it because they want to know how bad it is, or how stupid it is, or the hope is a goofy time. I don't go on my way. I mean, unless it's a paid request, I don't go on my way to watch shitty, bad movies. Or buy them like fucking macking me $50, 4K. I'm sorry, I'm still dumbfounded by that. But anyway, that's another video. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you for the next one. Shiver me timbers. And this trifecta of crap.